So you just got the idea for the next great app. The next step is to find which framework you're going to use, which may sound daunting, as a new one comes up every second. As React Native has gained popularity over the years, it has solidified its position as the leading framework for app development. However, when you start working on your project, you reach yet another big intersection. Expo or React Native CLI? It might sound confusing, so I guess it is better to simplify. I'm SimCoder, and here is React Native Expo Simplified. As developers, we are always trying to develop faster and better. For applications, this meant a transition from developing two different apps for Android and iOS to using frameworks like React Native, in which you kill two birds with one stone. And recently, even more birds. Sorry, Peter, I didn't harm any bird, I promise. But even React Native was not perfect. This is where Expo comes in. Expo is just a set of tools built on top of React Native that aims at solving some problems that come with React Native CLI and the React Native ecosystem overall. Expo is a CLI, which stands for Command Line Interface, just like React Native CLI. It is just a set of commands that you can run on any terminal. The terminal is not just a props for movies, you know? So, if it is the same thing as React Native CLI, why should I use it? The first thing is that Expo has a much simpler file structure. This is because you won't see the Android and iOS native files which appear when using React Native CLI. The goal with this is to spare you the hassle of having to deal with native modules. So Expo provides a set of packages that give you access to a ton of native APIs, which you would otherwise have to write for both iOS and Android. You'll basically never have to do this for most things, but it is something to keep in mind. The drawback is that if you need a native module, or if you need to use Gradle or CocoaPods in your app, you'll need to stop using Expo for this app. This happens with the Bluetooth module, for example. This means only Expo-supported packages are allowed on an Expo-driven app. You can find a detailed list of supported modules and their documentation on expo.io. I guarantee you it is really, really good. You can stop using Expo at any time by ejecting the app. Then it will be converted into a regular React Native project, just as you get when running React Native CLI. Expo also gives you some nifty features like allowing you to share an app via an URL so that your testing monkeys can receive your app and play with it in a matter of minutes, without having to send them an APK or an EPA file. They can run it straight on the Expo app with just a link. This makes it a hell of a lot easier to test an app with actual users, or to share them between your development team. But it does not stop there. You can also deploy an app for Apple or Android with one command line, and it will deploy on their servers, so you are free to keep on working in the meantime. If you are on Linux or Windows, you'll be able to deploy for Apple, which is not possible on React Native CLI, as it forces you to have a Mac or by running an emulator which will emulate a Mac. So yeah, shame on you, Apple. But what about updating the app, you might ask?
Oh, that's easy. All you need is a box.
And
OTA.
OTA, or over-the-air updates, is a fancy term for pushing updates to every single user without them having to update anything. As soon as the user opens the app, Expo will check if there is an update available, and if there is, it will be installed without the user noticing. It is really easy to do this with Expo. Now you might say this is cool and all, but why the hell should I care? You should care because if you have a nasty bug crawling around in your app, which we all know you will at some time, you'll be able to force every user to get the fix for it and not postponing every single update. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Windows users.
Please update. Please update. Please update. Please update. Please update.
Another cool thing about this is that you are able to go through the App Store review process anytime you update your app. This is especially important when you push an update for users with devices running iOS, which usually takes a hell of a long time. So yeah, Tim Cook, if you're watching this, please fix it. Okay, I get it. Expo is cool. Now, how do I get started with it? That's another point where Expo is great. You can get it up and running in 2 minutes. No need for Xcode or Android Studio, like with React Native CLI, or any fancy stuff that's frustrating to deal with. Only a terminal and a text editor. Then you're good to go. To start a project with Expo, you just need to do a couple of steps. Please make sure you have Node installed beforehand. All the links are down below. Install Expo on your system by running the command npm install --global expo -CLI on your terminal. After that is done, create an Expo project by running expo init followed by the name of your amazing app. Then Expo will ask you if you want to start a Bareflow project, which is a project with a normal React Native structure, or with a managed workflow, which is a project with the Expo structure and everything that comes with it. You can also choose between TypeScript or JavaScript, and some other small stuff. Now you can change directory into the folder with the same name as your app and view the file structure. Run npm start to start your development server. You'll be prompted a web page where you can choose where you want to deploy the project for development. iOS, Android, this can be either physical devices or an emulator, or web are the possibilities you have. And that's it, you are now running an app. To summarize, Expo can do almost anything that React Native CLI can, and the code does not change between the two. However, with Expo, you'll spend less time worrying about setting up a bunch of little things and have more time to focus on what's important, the code. And if you happen to need the React Native CLI version, you can always go back to it. So the choice is simple.